This is A Line Around Your Thoughts, a podcast that centers on conversations with artists, writers, musicians, and creatives from around the Inland Northwest. I'm your host, EJ Iannelli, and for this episode, I am joined in the Rogue Heart Media studio by Steve Whitacre and Donna Larsen of the Spokane Camera Club. So welcome, Donna, and welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
So I invited you in here, and I reached out because I felt like there was a lot about the Spokane Camera Club that I didn't know. And so I wanted to know more, and I thought that it would be a good opportunity for other folks to know more about a club that has been around since, is it 1932 was the founding? So that makes it, I think, one of probably the older clubs or hobbyist clubs in Spokane, no?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, we're coming up on our 100-year anniversary here in a few years.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
So the better part of a century. Yeah. And Donna, we were talking and catching up just beforehand, and you said that you've been with the Camera Club for 33 years. Is that right?
33 years. I joined when my dad retired. We joined it together, so we become one of the only dad-daughter teams there, and I just love it. That's the decision I ever made.
And had you been an avid photographer before that, or was the Camera Club kind of an entry point into more dedicated photography?
Well, I took pictures. I had a 35 millimeter Pentax, and I didn't understand the controls. And my dad was a photographer. He said, just turn the aperture ring and the shutter speed so you're shooting as close to 125th of a second. And so when I joined the Camera Club, I didn't know what aperture was. Mm-hmm. People were talking about polarizer. I didn't know what that was. It seemed like everybody else knew, so I was too embarrassed to say, well, what does that mean? So,
well, for the uninitiated, what is a polarizer?
Well, it's used in bright sunlight. It cuts out glare. You know, like if you're at a lake and you want to see into the lake, you have to be at a 90-degree angle from it for the polarizer to work. You turn this, it's a filter that fits on the end of your camera, and you turn it, and it makes the lake, gets the glare off the lake, or shine off of a tree. I mean, or maybe a plant has shine to it with the way the sun's shining, and it takes that shine off. Very valuable tool.
Very valuable, but optional. It's not one of the kind of three variables that any photographer is obsessed with, right?
I would disagree. I think every single photographer, I mean, I keep my polarizer on all the time. If I don't need it, I take it off.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I use it that often.
Oh, no kidding.
So no, it's a must for any serious photographer.
Cool. And Steve, when does your involvement with Spokane Camera Club begin?
Well, actually, I was interested in photography when I was in the Air Force. I spent 2 years in Berlin, and part of that, you get a free room and board. So what do you spend your money on? Audio equipment and camera stuff. So, and I did. And so went all over Europe taking pictures and stuff at an old Minolta. It was great. But then life got in the way, kind of set that aside, yada, yada, yada. We met in 2009, and then she got me back involved with photography and stuff. So I just started out with a little point and shoot, which wasn't a very good camera, but then she convinced me to get a Rebel. I think it was 3 Ti, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And then of course we've evolved from there. Yeah, now in fact, we just recently upgraded to the new Canon R5, which the new mirrorless cameras, they're fantastic.
So when you got your point and shoot and you were reintroduced to photography, was that digital or around the digital era, or were you still with film? Okay. Yeah. So you've both been involved in the Spokane Camera Club for quite a while. There's a certain structure to things. So your year begins around May 1st. So your year ends in April after you've been meeting for a few months. And then there's kind of time for people to go out and do some field photography and whatnot. And then there's a meeting schedule, and that meeting schedule is twice a month. So talk to me about that meeting schedule and some of the themes that you end up doing with that.
We call our year, the calendar year, September through April. Mm-hmm. So our first meeting's in September, so always in the fall. And we pick subjects. We have them 2 years out, so you can know what is coming up. You don't have to shoot subject, but we keep track of points. You get points. A judge comes and judges our images, and you get points. So if you shoot in subject, you get an extra 3 points.
Oh, okay.
And there's a trophy at the end of the year for the person who has the most points in each of the 4. We have 4 divisions in Camera Club. We have digital color, monochrome digital, then we have color prints, monochrome prints. So 4 different divisions you can enter. And the subjects change all the time. I mean, do you want to know the ones we had for this last year?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, let's see. For September, it was only 2 colors. October was rusted or busted. November was patterns in nature. December was abstract structures. That was challenging. January was rural America. February was double exposure in camera. And that was probably the worst subject. There were hardly any that entered in that. We did. I've entered subject of the month every month for 33 years. I want that on my tombstone. And then, let's see, March was snow and or ice. And April was a long exposure of 1 second or more.
Okay.
So that was the subject we had for this year.
And how do you arrive at these themes? You know, what strategy goes into determining them?
Well, we have a meeting the 1st of May.
And when you say we, who is that?
The club.
The members.
Whoever wants to come. A lot of people don't come. And then we have a big board, and we just put all these subjects on the board, and we vote on it. And we pick the top 8.
Just throw out ideas of subjects that might be of interest to people, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But then we vote on the subject list, and then that ends up being the subjects for that, you know, like the upcoming season. In fact, we already have picked those out, I believe.
For next year, but I don't have those.
Yeah, for next year, but.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that next year, September, later this year, I should say. So according to your calendar year, it's September is reflections, October is night photography, November is photojournalism, which is interesting. December is alleys specifically. Then January, golden hour. February is fire. March is silhouette, and April is glass.
There you go. I'm glad so it's all on the website.
It's on our website.
Yeah. I'm there to scoop it. And so with these themes, I'm assuming that you try to get as much variety as possible. So not only are you trying to sync up the months with their particular subject, but also get some variety in there, like the double exposure in camera or the 1 second shutter speed, things like that.
Well, yeah, we like things more like curves. I mean, we had a subject one year, grain elevators. Oh my God, by the time you looked at the 30th, 40th grain elevator, you know, the judge was pretty tired of that. So it's nice to have something where you can, you know, be a little more creative in what you shoot.
It's good to have the subjects too, because it makes people go out and try things maybe that they hadn't thought about trying to photograph before. You know, like the double exposure. Most people don't do double exposures or a long exposure. Or, you know, going out with alleys. I mean, who's going to go out and shoot alleys? Well, now with alleys, it helps, I think, stimulate some more creativity. And we get some creativity and variety then in the club as well, as far as the images that get shown twice a month.
Well, I have to tell you, the first month I joined with my dad, we joined the club, and we go, we're going to start entering the very first month. Well, the subject was self-portrait. And a lady had been in the club 50 years. She said, we've never had that as a subject. Well, it was in the middle of winter. I went on top of a mountain, put on a cowboy hat, you know, denim shirt, and, you know, red kerchief, and I'm pointing a 44 Magnum at the camera, and I look like I'm going to kill somebody. And about a third of the club did the same thing. They put a camera on a tripod and then took a picture of themselves taking a picture. Well, you know, after the 20th picture of that, you know, it didn't have much impact. My picture comes up. It was like, whoa, something different. And I took first place the first month.
Well, retroactive congrats there.
Yeah. I mean, I thought, well, this was easy. I mean, gee, I just joined. I got a first place right away. But I think it was more, I think I even cut off my feet. It wasn't that great a picture. It was just had an impact compared to all the others the judges were tired of seeing. So we try not to have subjects like that.
And was there anybody, during the grain elevator shoot, was there anybody who really did something unique with grain elevators so that all the grain...
Yes.
What did you do?
I'm the only one that did, actually.
Okay. What did you do?
Well, there was on way. I used to organize this raft trip on the Lochsaw River every year for 30 people. And so we're on our way to the Lochsaw, and there was an old wood grain elevator down there. Well, there was a crop duster doing, spraying the crops right there. So I'm going, stop the car, so I get out. I mean, I'm in a tank top and shorts. I'm out in this field, and the plane's going over, and he keeps like tipping his wings, like I think he's waving at me, and I'm getting pictures right when the plane is in, right by the grain elevator. Well, after about the third pass, all my skin starts burning. I'm thinking, holy crap. I mean, I was getting insecticide all over me.
Oh my word. The things you do for a good shot.
Took first place.
And a first place ribbon. There you go.
See, it was worth it, yes.
And so do you get some interesting takes then? And I guess maybe this is the point of the Camera Club. Not only does it encourage folks to go out and engage with these subjects that they might not do so otherwise, but also it allows them to flex that creativity and do an interesting shot, even at the risk of getting burned by insecticide, of a grain elevator or an alley.
Well, tell them what was our favorite subject we shot at Mount Rainier.
Oh, yeah, one season we had mushrooms as a topic. So we were at, I guess it was in Mount Rainier on, was it the Cedars area or?
No.
There were some boardwalks or something that we're going around and of course we're finding mushrooms like off the boardwalk. So we'd climb over the railing and get down, like we'd be laying on the ground, getting these different angles. While these people were kind of very curious what we were doing.
Well, remember when I was under that, I looked down the trail and I saw some mushrooms under a tree. So I'm bushwhacking down. Well, I'm lying down on the ground and people go, ma'am, are you okay? I mean, people thought I'd have fallen off the trail. So now we're telling everybody.
Yeah, after a while, these people that were also visiting the area, they're telling us where the other mushrooms
They're all looking for mushrooms. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, so that was one of actually our most enjoyable, I think, subjects as far as just having fun.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
So you had mushroom foragers who were actually pointing out where
they were just hikers.
Oh, okay. So
we told them that, hey, we're in a camera club and we have a subject of the month and that subject is mushrooms. And so now they're helping us look for mushrooms.
They're helping us.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you go out and you solicit some help.
Yeah.
So what is the attendance or the participation like in the Camera Club at the moment? And how has that maybe evolved over the years?
Actually, right now it's very strong. We've had an increase in the number of members. Yeah. How many do we have? It's close to 60.
We have about 50 active members.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And it changes. People travel or they've got another commitment, but it's doing really well.
And there's some events during the year too that we really that help get some members interested in, like the Interstate Fair. We always have a booth there with flyers and stuff, and we get people to come. They see the photographs on the wall. We've got a flyer. They ask about the club, and then a lot of them we've actually had quite a few members that have joined because of the booth there. Website too is another great promotional thing that.
The last year we've probably got maybe 7 or 8 new members, and I always ask them how did you hear about us? They said our website.
Okay, yeah.
So that's huge. Well, now you just do a search, you move. I mean, we have a member that came from a camera club in Colorado. Another one came from Boise. So there's even people who are accomplished photographers.
And are you seeing young? Are they older? Maybe more experienced photographers?
More retired people, I'd say.
Okay. Well, those are the folks with time and maybe money to buy the camera equipment.
Right.
Whereas
younger people are busy. They got jobs and stuff. So
but we have a newer member. He's in his 20s.
Okay.
And
I host potlucks at my house once in a while for the membership. Whoever can come. And I happened to be talking to this guy. His name was James, and he started talking about underwater photography and how he was saving up for an Iconis camera. I go, James, come with me. And I go in the basement. I have an Iconis 5 camera with a strobe. I mean, just a strobe was $1,500, and that was back in 1983. And I gave him all the stuff.
So he could do his underwater photography.
Do his underwater because I don't do it anymore.
No.
And he just thought, "You're just gonna give?" I go, "Yeah, I'm giving it to you." And he just thought, "Whoa!" So I expect to see some good underwater pictures from him.
Yeah. And how has that changed over the years? Has it waxed and waned as there's greater or lesser interest in photography among the public?
I would say there's more just because of cell phones, don't you think?
I think so. Yeah, I think the interest has grown, especially for this how creative photography has gotten. It's so much easier with the tools that we've got now, post-processing, AI, a lot of this stuff. I mean, people are getting very creative with it, and I think they're enjoying it. And the cell phone, of course, they sell more. I mean, I think the biggest manufacturers of cameras anymore are the cell phone camera. So yeah, I think we definitely are seeing kind of a renewed interest or growing interest in photography in general. Yeah.
And cell phone counts as digital photography. You're not exclusive about that.
Matter of fact, last year, or maybe it was the year before, one of the subjects of the month was digital, had to be on a cell phone. Picture taken with a cell phone. And I know last year at the year end we have a big banquet where all your work is submitted for a year-end banquet. 3 judges come and judge. So you might have a picture that did poorly in a monthly judging with that judge, but these 3 judges love it. And 2 of mine were cell phone pictures, and they took a first place.
Oh, okay.
With a cell phone.
Okay.
So cell phones, I mean, yeah, you can compete with a cell phone easily.
And when you talk about this judging process, who is judging? So folks are bringing in photographs every month to be assessed. What does this judging process look like?
Well, the first Wednesday of the month is digital night. So they submit their digital images. The second or the third Wednesday is the print night. So you actually print, and we actually have racks, and you put those up. So then we solicit.
And the TV is a huge, big screen TV.
Then we solicit professional or very good photographers to come in and evaluate these pictures. So for both nights, we download a digital representation of the image. So, and that's through the website. And then we send those images to the judge about a week beforehand. So he gets to look at all the images, and we give them a score sheet, and then they'll comment each one and write down the scores.
And we do it with 3 criteria. So the judge we have composition, impact, and technical. So those are the 3 things he needs to talk about, and he can score 1 to 5 points on each of those 3.
Each of those.
So if you get a 15, wow, that's a perfect picture.
And with respect to the judge, you keep saying he. So is there a single judge, or do you have rotating judges?
It's he or she.
We have more men, but we do have women that judge too. Yeah. We have one couple that they do it together. Actually.
Oh, okay.
They're both professional photographers, but we've been having more trouble recently getting judges, and that's why we're looking to AI to do judging on months where we can't find somebody.
Oh, okay. Now, do you? It's no secret that the world of photography has had a couple of kind of seismic shifts over the years. Mm-hmm. One was going from film to digital, and then I think probably the next one was the advent of cell phone photography, with so much being able to be able to be done on the phone, and so much post-processing and filters and things that can be added very, very quickly. Yep. And so that maybe raises some questions. And then you've got AI more of late, where it raises some questions about subjects and processing and that sort of thing. Yes. But you're talking about judging, about AI assessing these photos. Okay, walk me through that process. What does that look like?
Well, you give it some directions, on what to say, and we're still fine tuning it. We've only done it last month and this month, and then we had a real judge, a person, then kind of tweak the scores sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of a pilot program for the club.
Yeah.
Initially, I called it kind of AI assisted judging, and now we're saying it's more human assisted judging. So, in fact, tomorrow night, we're having it's digital night, and what we've done is run all 53 images through the AI evaluator, it's ChatGPT, and so I have all the comments all in a
Word document.
Word document. So we have a person reads the comments and the scores, and then we have a human judge that is kind of a safety check. All right, is what chat said about the image, did it make a mistake? Maybe it scored it too low or whatever, and then the human judge has final say over the scores. And for example, maybe chat says, it looks like there's some haloing in the picture, but then the human judge says, no, there's really not. So I'm going to score technical a little bit higher than what chat did. So the human judge will have final say, but the main judging is all AI.
And have you had some pushback on this? Because I have to be frank, I hear this, and my instinctive reaction is to kind of push back on that and say, I would really feel most comfortable with a human judge, because there are things that AI can't account for.
Absolutely.
So have you had some pushback?
Well, yes. We had pushback before they heard it. We told them we're doing AI. Oh no, of course, these are all people, a lot of 60s and 70s age group. And then when they heard the comments that the AI made were so good, for every single, we should have brought some samples of that.
I did.
Oh, you did? Read some of that.
But, it's like I said, it's a pilot program at this point. We're still early on in it. And, even these AI tools, they're in their infancy. Mm-hmm. They're still being developed. And biggest challenge is what instruction set do we give AI to judge the images? So, in fact, we have a committee that's formed that's going to look at that this summer. Right now, it's a pretty complex set of instructions. So it's like there's a range of instructions. It could be very simple, like AI just judge these images. Then at the other end, judge these images based on, let's say, PSA photographic standards. Look for distractions, composition, do it 1 to 5 in whole numbers. Be generous with it. I mean, there's all these things that you can tweak with the instructions, and it will do exactly what you tell it. And so,
but one thing it does that we don't like, I mean, we've always been taught, if you have a picture of an elk, you have some space in front of it that is looking into the frame,
Mm-hmm.
And chat consistently says, too much negative space there. Well, you're supposed to have negative space when you take a picture like that.
Right,
Same thing
right,
with a
right.
person. You don't put them in the center. You want maybe over here with some space into it. So chat, we don't like that it does that. So when we work on it this summer, we'll say, hey.
So we have a great set of human judges that come in, Ira Gardner, Deke Cloyd. I mean, we got some guys that they're terrific. We got other judges that they'll come in and say, yeah, it's a good picture, 444, with no feedback at all. So there's what we're trying to do is get more consistency in the kind of feedback that we can provide the members, so they know how to improve their photography. And so far, the AI has been pretty good about suggestions for improvements.
Yeah, and now that I'm ruminating on it, I think my initial reaction when I think of AI and why people might warm to it is because they might see it as a little more impartial, whereas a human judge can come with certain biases. And of course, it's not as though AI isn't without its biases and isn't without its hallucinations, but there is maybe, when you talk about consistency, there is maybe an element of consistency that's applied, across the board. Whereas a human, if they didn't eat lunch that day, they can come in feeling a little more grumpy.
Especially at the end of the night, they're getting tired.
Yeah.
It's interesting as we've gone through this. I'm the main person that's been interacting with it, and so I've been,
And do you have a technological background? Is that kind of one of the reasons this was introduced?
Well, I'm an electrical engineer, so a little bit. So I've done some programming and stuff.
Gotcha.
But so as I'm interacting with the chat AI, so I'll have it give me all the comments, and then at the bottom it says, and it's speaking in first person, which I always find a little bit.
But we ask it to do that.
No, what I mean, but it's saying, gee, I see you're trying an experiment with AI judging. Here's some suggestions on how we might improve it that other camera clubs have used. Using committee judging,
Three.
Maybe having 3 judges and we average the scores. I mean, it's giving me these suggestions without me prompting to get the answers.
Our members couldn't believe the feedback on each of the 3 criteria. They're like, whoa. So,
and you've got some examples there, Sue?
I
is
do.
That right?
And this
if you just want to give me some, for instance, so we have
this is a great image by one of our members, John Lepper, who's well known in the artistic community here. In fact, he was
he's our teacher at Ferris.
Our teacher at Ferris.
Okay, and so what we have here is we have the face of an older man, kind of bushy eyebrows, mustache, grimacing, and then it's cracked and peeling.
Kind of filter.
Okay.
The name of this is Sorrow. I mean, it definitely has some emotional impact when you see this, and of course, this is a bad representation of it. But
but the texture on it, so it's not just a portrait; it's a portrait rendered in such a way that it looks like it's cracked and peeling.
Well, do you want me to read the?
It did fair. The judge that judged it, I don't remember who it was. I mean, it didn't get like a perfect score or anything, and I thought it was. Well, read it.
All right, so it's basically chat says it's a portrait, and this is kind of an overview. Just as it's portrait blended with a cracked, weathered texture. So impact. This image hits emotionally right away. There's a powerful sense of age, hardship, and time passing. The fusion of the face with a cracked surface creates a metaphor that feels intentional and evocative. It draws the viewer in and holds their attention. The emotional resonance is strong. This is an image that tells a story. So that's just the impact.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, the blending is handled very well. The tonal range is balanced. The whites in the cracks are controlled, and the shadows hold good detail in the facial features. The overlay is aligned carefully so the cracks emphasize expression rather than distracting from it. Sharpness is well placed, especially in the eyes and mustache, while the texture adds depth. without feeling overprocessed. If anything, a slight refinement in the mouth shadow area could give even more clarity, but overall excellent control. So that's technical. Composition, the framing is tight, pulling us right into the emotional core of the subject. The decision to fill the frame with a face was smart. It makes the cracks in expression inseparable. The eye placement and asymmetry keep it dynamic rather than static. The texture flows naturally with the facial lines, which shows careful thought. Final score, 5.55. There's no human judge that's going to give this kind of feedback on an image like this.
And it's like that for every image.
Yeah.
And so when you had this this human fail-safe, did they happen to agree with ChatGPT's assessment, or was there some dissension there?
They actually scored a little higher.
Oh,
I mean, if a picture
okay.
got a 12 or 13, they might raise it to a 14 or 15.
Now, this particular image, everyone thought that this is an exceptional image that really stands out among most images that get submitted.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times, I think in the last human-assisted judging we did, they did score a little bit higher than what Chat did. But again, it all depends on the instruction set that we give it, because it will give us the results exactly that we had. It's very literal. So that's why we need to adjust the instruction set just a bit. Do we want it to score over a Gaussian curve? Do we want it to maybe be a little more heavy on the scores or a little more, favorable? Mm-hmm. So it just depends on kind of how we want to evolve this. And of course, the members have to agree with this as well. I mean, it's not like we're forcing this on anyone. We're doing the pilot. We're going to give them some examples, and then they can vote on whether they want to proceed with some sort of a hybrid approach with human judging and AI, with AI assist.
Yeah, if we can find a good human judge, we prefer that.
Yeah.
But it's the problem, we can't find them anymore.
Yeah.
We've been pretty impressed with the results so far.
And the club has too. I haven't heard one negative comment about it.
And I want to return to the issue of AI, or the matter of AI, in just a bit, but I want to stick with the judging process. Okay. Now, if someone were listening and thinking, I really want to hone my craft, or I'm an amateur photographer, I'd like to do a little bit more, I'd love to be given some subjects to photograph, and that might push me out of my comfort zone, but I'm not happy or I'm not comfortable with the competitive angle. Now, how much emphasis do you place on entering photographs in the competitions, or can somebody just kind of be a casual participant?
We have people that have been in the club a long time, never entered anything. They just come to hear the comments and learn, but they don't like their images being scored. And I know when we get a new member, I always say, listen, you're going to enter a picture for the first month. You have ownership in it. If it's your favorite picture you've ever taken, the judges will say, well, that's distracting. They should have cropped that out. This should not be centered. I said, but you got to have a tough skin, and that's how you learn. I mean, the first year I was in, like I said, I didn't know what a polarize was or aperture.
Although you did take first place on your very first.
Yes, I did. Yeah. But I listened to the judge. I listened to what they said about compositions and stuff, and I did really well within a year in the club. So because I listened. Yeah,
you learn a lot from the judges, but you also learn a lot by just seeing the images that other photographers are entering. You might submit something, I really like that. Then you start looking at like things like this, you go, oh, holy mackerel, I'm not even close to be able to create a photograph that's anywhere near as good as this. So I need to start thinking differently about, going out and photographing with intention.
Right time of day.
Right time of day. I know exactly what I'm going to photograph if I go out. So it's not so random to get good photos. You got to go out and know exactly what you're going to take a photograph of, when to take it, like you're saying. And it's really it's not the camera so much as it is the eye, the photographer, that as far as the composition.
And luck.
And luck,
when you talk about the crop duster.
Timing and luck, yes.
Yeah, yes. That was...
you never say, I'll get it on the way back. You stop right there and you take it at that time.
Yeah, I'm more of destination.
Stop the car!
She's the journey.
Yes.
So you're the planner and you're the more spontaneous one?
No, I would say I'm the planner too.
Yeah, you're both.
No.
I drive, she spots.
But see, he won't stop where I want to stop. I mean, we both drive Suburbans. I mean, hey, it's a big honking Suburban. They're going to see. I mean, you pull off the side of the road, because we went to Banff here last year, and I thought, I'm taking my car. It was wintertime. I had so much more fun. I could stop wherever I want and snowshoe into the river or take pictures of the mountains. And
I'm more
and
safety
nobody hit
oriented. Cars are going by 70 miles an hour. I want to just park way off. Yeah.
I mean,
Right. Yeah.
or he stops like, a half a mile. I'm not going to hike half a mile back to take my picture. So yes, this is a
Anyway, yeah.
continual issue with us.
And so on top of the competitive aspect, are you also organizing, for example, workshops and guest speakers and things like that to come in and maybe help out some of the folks who are looking to hone their craft? And I'm not even just talking newbies here, like even so-called
done too,
experts
for
can
sure.
use some help.
Yeah, we
tell
just
me
had
about
a
the
Lightroom workshop, and what was the other one with Dave?
Tim McGee came in with a drone.
Oh yeah, we did a drone overview with Tim Gee. Yeah.
And then another one just this last month with stacked focusing. And that was a good
stacked
turnout for that.
focusing.
So actually we've had 3 this year.
What's stack focusing?
Where you're taking, let's say you have a picture of a flower and your camera, it depends on your camera. I mean, you can do it manually and combine them, but you can't have everything in focus, so it takes a picture here, 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 here. Do it automatically in most cameras anymore. And then you blend them together in a software program. So everything is sharp. I mean,
And so you mentioned that, and then I think, well, maybe this puts film folks at a slight disadvantage because then they're doing things maybe a little more manually.
A huge disadvantage.
Yeah. So what is your
Else
split?
you're shooting f/22 and you better like zoom in and compress it all.
Yeah. So what is your split between film and digital? Because you have these two components to
There's
the club.
no film. Nobody does film in our club.
I see. So you just have print.
They could. I mean,
Okay.
they could if they wanted to.
So
It's
you
just-
have prints from the original digital, and then you
yes.
have just simply
yes,
the
we're
digital
actually
on screen.
printing. Yeah, we're
I
just printing
see.
our digital image,
I see.
and then you
Okay.
have to mat it too. And there's a certain size you have to put in.
So nobody's doing film.
No, not in our club.
If they do, they're doing it just kind of on their own as a
Well,
hobby
we
or
don't know
whatever.
about it.
Yeah, I think we do have people that are still interested in it, but I don't know that we have anyone that's really submitted.
No. When I was in the club, when the first person started doing digital, oh my God. And then a few other people went, and there was so much conflict within our club. It was just nasty. It was just awful. The digital people, they need to have their own club. I don't want to compete with people who are better at the computer than me. And it was just horrible for several years. But gradually, everybody started. I mean, it was so much easier to do digital.
Yeah.
You can see your image right away, and no wonder when you get home from a 2-week trip, did the camera work right? I mean, do you have good stuff on your film? So.
Well, it's good. I mean, and the more photographers that I have talked to, they will say, look, film has its merits, but film also had a heck of a lot of drawbacks, and I don't have to sit in a dark room and worry about light penetrating anymore. And so all of the caveats that were associated with film, I'm happy to kind of bid them good riddance, unless somebody really, really likes that.
Especially the ISO. I mean, it's a dark day. Well, you crank the ISO up. I mean, before you shot with 100, 200, or 400 film. That was it.
Yeah, purists, I think, still think that there's some advantages, especially with monochrome, black and white, that there's a quality to the film development process that gives you a great, it's almost like an Ansel Adams sort of a thing with black and white images. But I think with the technology, the way it is what's in the sensors in the camera, the post-processing, it's pretty hard to make a huge distinction between the two. I think the new digital cameras and the post-processing create something just almost probably 99% as close to some of that original cool, black and white film stuff that you can develop.
I just started doing monochrome this year. I retired. I have more time now, and not very many people enter monochrome.
And monochrome exclusively, or monochrome in
No,
addition
I still
to?
do.
Okay.
I do color digital, color prints, and just monochrome prints. And it's so easy to take your print and turn it into a monochrome. I mean, I can do it in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just easy, and they've done well in competition.
Yeah, with prints, one issue we've had though is, Costco used to have a great photo printing department, and nationwide they got rid of them, which was we were devastated by that because, geez, you could get these nice, 12
by 18 for $3.99.
Yeah, $3.99. They were cheap, so it's like
you had to download their profile.
Yeah.
I mean, so that the colors looked right.
So the
But
print
they did a
alternatives
great
here in
job.
town, like R&R or some of the others, I mean, it's way more expensive. They do a nice job, but I think, people are more concerned with costs and stuff and the matting. It's like, but I think we're starting to see actually more people starting to participate. I think they're starting to get interested in maybe buying a nice Epson or a Canon printer. In fact, we we know a professional photographer who gave us a great deal on a printer that we share. And we, man, love the convenience of just being able, here's my photo that I want to print. We print it and get immediate feedback on it versus having to wait maybe a week to get it. I don't like that. No, I'm going to have to reprint it. But having a local printer is nice.
It's been really nice.
Yeah, very nice.
But in terms of the post-processing, now we're sitting here talking about purism and the merits or demerits of film versus digital. But here with digital in particular, we enter into this realm where it's very easy to apply filters. It's very easy to manipulate it. Now, is there ever any discussion over how much post-processing a photo is subjected to the point where it is no longer, it's only a distant cousin of what was shot in camera? So are there debates about this?
Oh, yeah. Donna has very strong feelings about that.
I have very strong feelings about that.
Like, how much is too much?
Well, we were judges at a different camera club in town. It's a smaller camera club, but the guy that's in there, he judged for us before, and it was happened to be one I talked about, but it was this gorgeous picture. I mean, it was the Milky Way at night. Down below is a lighthouse shining the light out into the water, and it's like, whoa, 55515. I said that is extremely hard to shoot, the Milky Way like that. And the guy goes, oh yeah, I got that off the internet. I said, well, we don't allow that in our club, and we don't. I mean, we can combine pictures, but you have to have taken the Milky Way picture and the lighthouse picture, and you can do a composite and combine them, but you can't go. We had somebody do this, and I didn't know it at the time. They had a lake picture, and they took a boat off the internet and put it in the lake. You can't do that. We don't allow that in our club.
Okay.
You can manipulate your pictures, but you have to have taken both of those images.
I see.
You can't just go get one somewhere and put it in your picture. That's not allowed. And of course, it's the honor system. But
and are there any tough gray areas where maybe someone does take 2 or 3 images themselves and then combines them in such a way that they're so far removed from those original images that you think the distance here is too great?
No, they can do that if they take.
I don't know that we've run into that. Some of the abstract subjects that we've had, you could probably argue that maybe it's starting to push the boundaries of it. But of course, it's still abstract and it's great. Most of I think what we see is that they're improving the picture by changing the composition, removing a bunch of distractions. Maybe there's a log across the water. We've removed the log post-processing. So in fact, we both do a lot of that. I mean, the post-processing capabilities now, even with Photoshop, there's a lot of AI capabilities built into it. Mm-hmm. So you can take these let's say distractions out, and it automatically fills in the correct background. So let's say you take out a log that was covering moss, takes it out, and it puts the moss in there.
And before, it took more time to do. You had to sit there and clone it and try and clone this over there so it looked real.
And again, when I think of initial gut reactions, I think, but because there was manual effort involved, that makes it okay. But clicking a button, and so we get into this issue of tools. And I'm sure there are kind of polarizing, speaking of polarizers, polarizing opinions or polarized opinions about this. But with the AI tools that are available, does that then allow certain manipulation of photographs that then raises some controversy or raises some debate as you're judging these?
I don't know that we've actually seen images where it's been controversial. I know that it's a good discussion that we've had about that issue, but I don't know that we've crossed the line where we're starting to see a lot of pictures that are displayed in competition where somebody's questioning whether that really was something that they took or they created.
When we're using the AI in Photoshop, we took the picture, but we're getting rid of stuff in the picture. We're not adding something to the picture, we're taking it out. Mm-hmm. Which I think is a big difference.
Or improving taking noise out of the sky, or even doing a sky replacement. Even the sky replacement, we should be taking the sky that gets replaced, not the library of skies that are available.
My folder of clouds is probably at least 300 cloud pictures.
Right.
I'm stopping all the time to take the cloud pictures, but I use them.
Yeah,
and they look good. Yeah. I know I had a composite. We had composite as a subject a few years ago, and I didn't really know how to do one, but I had taken a picture of a culvert down in, I think it was Death Valley.
That was Death Valley.
But it was, because he took a nap. See, you could have gotten that picture too. But you could walk, it was big enough to walk in, so it was huge. But I wanted always to do a composite of something looking in at me, And so finally I had a picture that we had composited, and I thought, oh, and I had done a bear trip in Alaska 3 different times. So I had a bunch of bear pictures. So I had this great big bear looking right into the culvert. And I blended it perfectly. So it was exactly what I wanted. And now that was fun. Did that exist in nature? No. And nobody ever said anything like there's going to be some big bear coming at me. I mean, that did not happen in nature,
I think one of the biggest probably modifications post-processing we see, let's say you go out and you take a picture of a subject and the sky was blown out, just white. Sky replacements are huge as far as improving the look and the feel of the photograph. Mm-hmm. But you should be using sky images that you took to blend it on there. But that can just totally take a so picture and make it Camera Club competitive. So yeah, skies are a big deal, and the Photoshop tools make it very easy to select the sky and replace it. It's amazing how easy it is to do that stuff.
I think of pictures years ago where it's a really cool barn, but it's all kinds of no trespassing signs everywhere, so you just didn't take it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I wish those barns were still there. You could go back. 2 seconds you'd get rid of the no trespassing sign. So.
And I think this also raises, as we wind down, one of the things I wanted to ask was the appreciation of photography and the fact that, we have cell phones that are capable, they have incredible sensors that were better than any point and shoot. And, you talk about maybe the older demographic that's taking part in Spokane Camera Club, and bringing new folks in and kind of cultivating that love of photography, and also that that willingness to be assessed, and what makes a good composition and theme and impact and all that sort of thing. Have all of these technological advancements kind of devalued the art of photography to the point where it's harder for folks to get passionate about it? Or do you think that there's still the same love for photography as there's always been? We just have different tools at our disposal.
See, I think it's enhanced it for me, to be honest. I'm more excited about it now than I was when I first started. I'm just doing prints. You didn't know what you got, and all of a sudden you look at your prints, and then you're getting it developed like at Costco, where it's like, well, that's underexposed or that's overexposed. Where now I'm in control of how that image is going to look, and I like that level of control.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's raised the bar, and I think people are getting more creative in the photos that they take. I think we're seeing some great creativity in our club.
We are. Our club is doing
we got some
well.
Great photographers there, and they're taking these extended trips down to the Antarctic or to
Africa.
Yeah. In fact, we did a trip to Africa, that was fabulous. But you go to these great places, and you're gonna. If you want to get good pictures, you got to go to places that have good subjects.
Yeah.
But I think
and that hasn't changed.
That hasn't changed. No. But I think as people have been taking these great photos, it's motivating people. I don't think it's discouraging them at all. Because again, I think the creativity and the quality of the photographers that we have I think we've raised the bar. And I think some of these tools that we've got, it just makes it easier to create great images. A lot of people always compare, they always say, well, the post-processing stuff, it's really not fair. Well, if you look at some of the great photographers from the past, Ansel Adams always comes up. Well, a lot of his great photos were
dodging and burning, doing
they
all
were
kinds
done
of
in
stuff
the dark room. There's no way that those original photos of the, whatever the Sierra Nevada mountains or whatever it is, that is not what it looked like in the camera. It was in post-processing. You got this great contrast, and these images with high impact. So he did a lot of manipulation post-processing, but just in the dark room. Now we've got digital tools to do the same thing.
So it's never truly been kind of art imitating life or art capturing life. It's always been kind of enhanced version.
Kind of a creative look at life.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
The ideal.
Yeah. I think the other part of our club too, there's a huge social aspect of it. People like getting together and talking the technology, the cameras, the equipment, the photos, where did you go? We have social events. We have a potluck a couple of times a year. So, I mean, the social aspect too, I think helps keep people coming back. They really feel connected to the community of photography.
And is there a little bit of gear snobbery, or if someone shows up, with an old school, one of those disposable film cameras and says, "Hey, I want to try my hand at this," would they be welcomed with open arms?
Yeah.
We used to be so mean to the Nikon guys because most of our camera club was Canon people, and it was like, well, you could have gotten a better score with your Nikon if you'd used a Canon.
That's more brand snobbery.
Yeah,
okay.
But once you're in one system, it's too. I mean, you just have to stay.
Yeah, you get invested in the glass, and it's switching costs are too high.
Yeah.
But I know I like to share my knowledge. I mean, I had a website reserved for 20 years for my photography, and I just never had time to do it. And then I turned 70. I thought, I'm going to be dead. When am I going to ever do that? I need to get my website up. So I retired. I have a website now, but my pictures, there's hundreds of them on the website. I tell where it's at. This is where you can go get this waterfall. Here's a Forest Service road. Here's how to get to it. I hate it. I see people's images on calendars. Where is it? You don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And I want people to be able to go see the beauty that I saw.
But I think we encourage, it doesn't matter what you have to come in. We encourage anyone to come in, doesn't matter what kind of a camera they've got. It's like a low end, some old original digital, or the latest Canon or Nikon camera. Doesn't matter. We want them to come in. We want them to take pictures. We want them to compete. We want them to socialize with us, and just makes the whole experience better. And once they start submitting photos and they start getting good scores, boy, you just see the smiles on their face when they get those good scores. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, now I'm going to have you share knowledge of a different variety, and we're going to move into the lightning round. I don't know if you were prepared for this or if you watched long enough.
No. You earn more money then?
No, unfortunately not. But so we've talked a lot about photography, and now we're going to move into very different realms. There are 4 questions. They start with an either or, and I've cooked up a different either or. You actually have 3 choices. So, Steve, I'm going to start with you, okay? Among any group of people, so any given group of people, would you rather be the funniest person, the most confident person, or the smartest person in that group?
Boy, that is a hard choice. How can I choose all 3?
No.
I think the smartest, most confident, smartest.
You've got to go with one of the. So we've got funniest on the table, we've got most confident, and then we've got smartest.
And this is the lightning round.
Yeah.
I love making people laugh. So I think I would almost choose the humor part.
Choose the funny. Yeah. You'd rather be the funniest person in that group. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Donna, same question to you.
I'd probably say the same thing.
You'd be the funniest. Okay.
Entertain people, make them laugh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I usually MC our end of the year banquet, and I always tell the stupidest, dad jokes. But I love it.
Do you have a favorite dad joke? Do you have one that you like?
I've got several. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to share one now when we talk about sharing knowledge?
Well, one of my favorite comedians is Norm Macdonald,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you know the moth joke.
Yeah. The moth joke goes on for quite a while, doesn't it?
It can go on for a half hour if you wanted to, but basically the moth goes in to see the podiatrist, but why did you come in here? Because your light was on. But you can embellish this thing, and then that's one of my favorite jokes.
So the moth joke is the old go-to.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If he tells it again at salon, that's it.
I always ask him that. Okay, yeah. People are asking me to do the moth joke.
No, they're not.
Can I see a show of hands? So that's good. That's a good one.
So you're going to field the next question.
Okay.
It seems a little redundant because we've already talked about the fact that you have indeed won a contest. So the first part of the question was, have you won a contest? And indeed you have. What was, of the various contests that you have entered and won, what was your most proud, or what are you most proud of?
Well, it's probably when I was PSA had a magazine, and they would have competition.
And PSA is an acronym that's come up.
It's Photographic Society of America.
Right. Okay.
And I never entered anything in their contest. I just didn't. And one time I did, and to get their magazine, I mean, I just wasn't that interested. Anyway, and all of a sudden, several months later, I'm getting calls from someone. They said, "Well, congratulations." I said, "Well, thank you. What did I do?" They said, "Really, you don't know?" I said, "No." I mean, I didn't know what they were talking about because my magazine hadn't come yet. I took Grand Champion. I mean, here's colored pictures of me in this my picture in this magazine, and it's like, whoa! And that was the only time I ever submitted to it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You've been very fortunate. I mean, also
Yeah.
clearly very talented as well. But yeah.
It was a night shot of a bridge and a sunset.
Really good.
I mean, it was a good picture. I really liked it. But gee, to take Grand Champion. Oh no, there was another time I won a contest. It was for the whole Camera Club. It's on the whole West Coast, and we sent a representative down to California for it. And when I was married to my husband, we were hardcore backpackers, and we were in an area called the Enchantment Lakes and the Alpine Lake Wilderness. And we went late in the year because it's all tamarack trees up there. Well, they don't turn till October, so you're going late in the year where you could have inclement weather. One year we had to be rescued. We got snowed in, but it was a full moon, and we had a tent lit up. So I'm way up here. The moon is shining on this mountain. The tent's lit up below. And of course, I'm yelling at my husband because I don't want any shadows in the tent. I said, no, I can still see a shadow. And he's saying, oh, God, But when it was a slide. When I got the picture back, I did not realize the Big Dipper was to the left of the mountain, and you could see it.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it was just an awesome picture, and I called it Under the Big Dipper, and that won first place of all these camera clubs on the West Coast. That was back in slide days.
Oh, nice. Well, ample reason to be proud. Steve?
So as far as kind of,
it doesn't
an
have to be
award in
photography. Maybe you
or-
won a spelling bee, and that's your proudest moment.
Well,
I'll
I'll keep it within photography. But yeah, for our interstate fair, I got Grand Champion here a few years ago, and then this last year I got People's Choice Award. So I was pretty proud of that.
What was your People's Choice subject?
We were pretty fortunate. We did a workshop over on the west side. It was a macro workshop, and the guy that was holding this, he brought this guy in that basically had all these reptiles. Tree frogs and moths and iguanas and chameleons. So he would set up these different stations with these different animals on them. And the one was a tree frog on this branch. So I took it was a great photo. Tree frogs are very photogenic anyway.
Yeah.
Big red eyes and stuff. But it was, the branch came up, tree frogs was looking out, and that took People's Choice. Everyone loved that and she has the exact same shot, of course.
But see, I have more inventory, so sometimes I'll let him enter.
Yeah, and then Grand Champion was did a West Coast trip, and we on the I think it was down in Oregon. Was it near Bandon Beach or?
No, I think it was in California.
Might have been. Oh, you're not maybe near Eureka, but there's a boat. It's a kind of a sad story called the Mary D. Hume. This guy had a fleet of boats, and he loved this one the most, and he was going to salvage this thing and put it in a museum. So he's going to hoist it out of the water, stick it in the museum. Well, halfway up, the straps broke, fell back down, and of course it destroyed the boat, but it's been in there for years. Tide comes up and down. Unbelievable photo. And that took Grand Champion that year. But the photograph is tremendous. And of course, since then, that's been, I don't know, 7-8 years.
Yeah,
it's
been a while.
deteriorated to the point where it's almost not even worth taking a picture of anymore. But that was an unbelievable picture.
Well, there we have it. The photograph not just as art, but as archival record too. So
and luck.
Yeah.
We were very lucky. In fact, we were driving down PCH.
Stop the car!
Yeah, I almost slammed the brakes on when we saw it, because we know when you see a good picture, you know it.
Yeah.
Well, see, he's the driver, I'm the spotter.
I've never gotten a wreck on that one.
I know.
Yeah. It's funny that was.
So third question, what is your most treasured possession?
Ooh, most treasured possession.
And I'm looking for an object here.
Oh, okay. I was going to say other
I
than.
say, if you don't see me, you're in trouble.
Most treasured
Yeah,
possession.
we'll take that as read. But most treasured possession. Is it one of your cameras? Is it a yo-yo from when you were a kid?
Dang, that's since this is a lightning round, I'm struggling here I don't know. My most treasured possession.
And you can kick it to Donna if you want, and take a little more time
We
to.
like our R5s pretty well. I would probably say, it's more. From the time my kids were born, I took pictures of them. I mean, so they've got hundreds. I mean, so many photo albums because I was a photographer. So in my house, the kids always used to say, "If the house is on fire," I'd be getting the photo. Like, kids, get out of the house, and I'd be getting all the photo albums, before I could make sure they were out.
So not the cameras, but the albums.
The results of the
Yeah.
I mean, you can't replace those memories. Matter of fact, for years I had 5 big safety deposit boxes at the bank. I'm sure that I had jewels and gold coins and stuff. It was all my negatives.
Yeah.
Because that can't, your house can burn, but you have the negatives.
Yeah, you can always replace a camera, I guess, but you can't necessarily replace the negatives.
Yeah,
Steve, how we doing over here?
I'm struggling a little bit with it.
Oh, it's your stupid new boat.
Oh, no, I don't know that that's my most treasured.
Oh, yes.
I would say probably some photographs, probably from my days in the service.
Mm-hmm.
I was so fortunate that I spent 2 years in Berlin, and we used to. There was a couple of missions that went on there at the time. One was the Army mission. They actually had like CIA folks that would go up in these helicopters and go around the Berlin Wall, looking for a military activity on the other side of the wall.
I see.
Well, we could go up with them at any time. So we flew in these helicopters around, and of course I had my Minolta camera, so we'd go with them. When they had training flights, though, we could tell the pilot to go wherever we wanted within the Berlin zone. So we'd tell them, okay, take us over to the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church and hover over that while we're taking aerial photographs of this memorial. So they or the gardens or the green spaces. Unbelievable. So I got, of course, boxes of slides of these things. I would say that's right up there. I'd hate to lose that.
Okay, so house is burning. You're both. It's the photo
I'm
albums,
I'm going for those slides.
Okay, and you're going for the slides.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have made it this far. We've got the last one. This is going to be photography related. So the most essential tip for someone who's just starting out in photography. What is the one thing that they have to remember?
To shoot when the opportunity arises. Don't think you'll go back and shoot it later. If you see a good shot, take it right then. The light will change. Something will be different. Just you got to do it when you see it.
So whether you're dealing with film, digital, cell phone, doesn't matter.
Even cell phone.
Get
That's
it now.
what's good about cell phones. You always have it with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've taken thousands of pictures with my cell phone because it's right there. I mean, to go back, get my camera out of the bag, get the settings right. I mean, that's time consuming, but your cell phone's ready all the time.
Yeah.
I'd say persevere. Keep working at it. Shoot with intention. Know what just keep working at it. Don't give up. Because it can be a little bit frustrating at first that you're not getting the results you think you should be getting. So to keep working at it, see what other photographers are doing, use other photographers to get tips and tricks, but man, just keep at it and you will get better. Persevere.
Well, exactly, and that's what's good about Camera Club. You're looking at all these people, and everybody has their own style. I have a specific style. I never thought I did, but people go, "Oh, that's a Donna Larsen picture." I mean, they can tell my work. And, you see all these different styles, well, then you develop your own style. Like, I remember when we first started shooting, he goes, "You're taking a picture of, I'm taking a picture of." It's like, you need to go and kind of do your own thing. You not to be a shadow here, and you do. Now you do have your own
It is
style.
fun, though, during competition. A lot of times we'll look at an image. Oh, we know who that's a John Lepper image, or Dave Powers took that, or whatever. We can guess probably half the time who took the photo, just based on how the look and feel of the photo.
I have to tell a funny story about one of his pictures. He reversed it because I want him to do well, in the Camera Club. Well, he reverses it, and it was a marina with boats. I said, well, now all the writing on the boats is backwards. I'll tell him it's Russian. I said, well, it's really distracting. And the judge gets up there, he goes, "There's something very distracting in this picture. Does anybody know?" I said, "Yes, the writing is backwards." He goes, "That's extremely distracting." I'm going,
So seize the moment and persevere, and you can do so with the help of the Spokane Camera Club.
That's it.
All right. Well, Donna and Steve, thank you so much for coming in today and talking about all the ins and outs of the Spokane Camera Club and allowing us some kind of space to get into AI as well, which is always nice.
It's a great retirement hobby. Well, it's a great hobby for anybody, but especially as you start going through different life transitions. This is the perfect hobby because you can do it far into life as you want.
Well, and it gets you out, gets you exercise, you're traveling, you're meeting new people. I mean, if someone sees you with a tripod and a camera, what kind of camera gear are you using? I mean, it's an automatic opening for a conversation with somebody.
Not to keep this going and not to be morbid, but we just had a member pass on just here. We just had a memorial service last week or this week. He just entered photos in the same month.
So tomorrow night we'll be showing his photos.
His photos, and he's passed already.
Well, yeah, maybe he'll get a posthumous award.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
But I mean, it just shows you these photographers. I mean, they're passionate about this stuff, and they'll do it right to the end.
To your point about perseverance.
Perseverance, that's right.
Oh, my kids are positive I'm going to fall off a cliff taking a picture. And I kind of hope I do it. Well, I'm in there and I think, oh, my kids were right. And I'm fine with that. Well,
this is fun. Yeah, very good.
Cool.